Hey guys, just wanted to share real quickly with you how Dash Trader Pro and the ability to create the hotkeys and buttons, or as Kanal likes to call them, hot buttons, has really kind of changed the way I trade. And it's actually, believe it or not, it's made me more profitable, right? I used to think that it didn't matter the platform, it was more about the pattern and stuff, which is true, don't get me wrong. But platform really does make things easier. So you might have the right idea, but you might have poor execution, or um, you may not have optimal execution with your platform software because it just doesn't work quickly enough to allow you to get in and out of a trade. Especially for those that like to scalp, if you don't have the software, you can't really scalp as quickly as you would like, because by the time it takes you to get an order entered, um, maybe that scalp was valid for 30 seconds, but if it takes you 35 seconds to get an order in, you've done missed it, and most likely you're going to lose in that trade. So I wanted to show you real quick. Again, I don't intend for this to be a really long video. It has the potential to be, especially if I keep rambling on like I already am now. But real quick, um, I used Dash Trader Pro last year when I was at SureTrader, a really shitty company. Great software, right? The software, I fell in love with the software platform, um, but by the time I figured out how to use it effectively, SureTrader had already screwed me out of my money, right? So then, of course, I went back to Thinkorswim and toiled around there and really didn't like it, and it really took a lot. It took away a lot of my passion for trading, just because of the limitations or the overcomplication that Thinkorswim does with their software. And of course, then earlier this year, I did really well with Thinkorswim because I learned how to use Active Trader really well. Then I moved over to TC2000 because, again, I've been using that ever since I started learning under Canal. So it made sense for me to trade from a chart. But again, even trading from a chart has its limitations, because my job as a trader is to have minimal clicks and minimal input from keystrokes. The less I have to do, the less opportunity there is for me to screw something up. And when it comes to my trading, I take advantage of screwing something up as often as I possibly can. Not like I intend to, but that's the way my luck works sometimes. So what I did was I went out and I started looking for ways to make Dash Trader Pro faster for me, right? How can I, because I keep hearing Kanal all the time talking about how he scales in and out of trades. And I tried doing that, but then I got to sit there and calculate stuff and figure out how many, especially if I have an odd lot of shares, I've got to go and do math in my head. And frankly, you know, I just want to trade. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not an accountant. I really don't care to be. It's not that I can't do these things. It's not like I don't know how to do division by two. It's just, to me, my thing is how much do I have? How much work do I have to do? And what is that costing me in the long run? So if I'm having to sit here and divide 736 shares by two, by the time I'm figuring it out, I may have missed my exit or my entry. So it's what I'm trying to. I want to make things quicker for me. So I went and I found this Excel spreadsheet on the web that somebody had used. Now, first and foremost, let me be clear. You're according to this, they said that some adjustments need to be made for interactive brokers. I've not seen what these are yet. It's possible that I've got to make some changes, but I've not seen anything yet. Same goes for Speed Trader, other brokers. I do know that each broker has different routes available to them. Of course, you might want to check and see what your broker offers if you're going to use these. Of course, you're going to have to modify these with your own account numbers for anything that has an account listed in there. So if you build a script and you want to have this, and maybe you have multiple accounts at the same broker, you might want to modify it with their account number. So you can easily do that by going into the hotkey. I think it's like the hotkey wizard or something, whatever it is. Here, we'll pull it up real quick. So let me go over here. Oh, let's see. Yeah, just a hotkey, and then you would actually go into your actual. Let's say, for instance, this is what I want to use for one. So maybe I want to edit it, and then maybe I want to maybe I want to change my routing to something else, and then you do that, do your change, and then hit your commit, right? So really cool. It's awesome. So let's get back here to to this spreadsheet. So I just want to kind of go over some things that are really useful for traders who are looking to get in and out of a trade, and to show you how to use this spreadsheet in order to figure out what will be advantageous to you as a trader. So you have general hotkeys, right? The way this is set up is that in column A here, you're going to have a description of the what the action is, right? That we're creating a script for. Column B is going to be the keyboard shortcut that whoever created this used. And then of course you're going to have the command script in column C. So if you see something that you would like to do, so let's say that you want to create a hotkey or maybe a button to cancel all orders for the symbol highlighted, you could just copy this right here. You make sure you hit column C. I'll post this spreadsheet along with the link to the video, so that way there you all can actually pull this up and then go through and look and see what you like. And then that way there, it saves you from having to pause the video and look and see and go, oh, what was that script? So you can just go in here and copy the script, right? So you go here, select, hit Control A to copy all, and then right click and then copy, or you can go to edit, copy, whatever. But that's how you do it. And then you go into your Dash Trader Pro, and then you go into the hotkey, and then what we're going to do, what you'll do is you'll build. So what I'll do is I'll show you. I'll go down and cover these real quick, and then I'll show you how to build a hotkey real quick for what really is kind of turned out to be my favorite script. And I'll show you the reason why. But again, like, here's one other thing I want to point out, and this is something I found out this morning, right? So I took a trade in my paper account on TVIX, right? So I was like, oh, I'm like, I want to make sure the script works. So I got into the script, right, and everything was going really good. I had bought 200 shares of TVIX. It was running. I wanted to make sure that my scale out, so shortcuts were working. So I scaled out 50%, and then I scaled out another 50, and then I got out the last quarter. I'm sorry, I got out 50, 50, and 50. So I ended up getting out my entire position. So I went downstairs. Now part of the problem is, after I had placed my order and I got filled, I had placed my stop loss. So once the stock was running, I'm really good about my stop loss, right? So typically what I should do after I scale out half is to use the free trade, right? But again, I was just testing it specifically for the scale out function, right? So I wouldn't even think about combining it with Kunal's free, his strategy for selling out half and then setting your stop at the buy price. So again, I'm not trying to overcomplicate things. I want to make sure things work before I try sharing it with other people. If I can get one thing working, awesome. If I get the other thing working, awesome. I can get them both working together. Now we've got something to work with, right? So I had gone downstairs, got some coffee, came back up, and I was down $3,500 on TVIX. And I thought, how in the hell am I down $3,500 on TVIX? I bought 200 shares, I sold 100, sold 50, and then sold 50 more. Like this is stupid. So I'm thinking like maybe Dash Trader Pro, like maybe I hit something, maybe I hit a key or something, and it just took a short position of 200 shares. No. See, when I had set my stop after I had placed my bid, after I got placed my order and got filled, I had a stop for 200 shares. But after I had scaled out, 150, 50, well, this was still active as an actual order for a stop loss for a stop at 200 shares at the 50-cent stop loss I had. And what ended up happening was the price came back down. It hit that, it filled it. Now I had a negative 200 position, which means it basically created a short position for me. So what we don't want to do is we want to make sure that we cancel out. So if you put a stop on there and you want to start scaling out, you got to remember to cancel, which again you can just do cancel all orders, or cancel the control Q, and then be able to scale out. And then if you remember your keyboard shortcut for raise stop to buy price, you hit that. So all of a sudden now, guess what? We've got more control over the way our orders are going, right? So all of a sudden we're not having to hunt and peck or look for something or do something or hit click something twice and then drag this and then do this, and then all of a sudden by the time we do all this crap, it's a moot point because we're stopped out of the trade, or we've given back some type of profit. So again, under here, these are what I'm going to call canal free trades, right? Like I should name these buttons canal free trades, because again, this is what he does, right? So he scales out half, and then he raises his stop to the buy price, which of course that's your average cost. So again, that's nice. So now you're in a free trade. So I have this map to control B, right? I also have one for shorts, right? So when I take a short position, if I scale out half of my trade, or I scale out any portion of myself, any portion, I can then set my short cover price, my short my cover stop, right? My cover stop. I can set it at break even, which would be my short price, right? So it's a free trade. Once you're profitable, that's always been my goal. The quicker I can get my stop loss up to what I paid, the less stress I take on the trade. So if it works, awesome. If I get stopped out, I didn't lose shit, right? But I still made money, right? I just didn't make as much as I could. I can sleep better knowing I didn't make as much as I could than I can losing money, right? So that's what I like. So sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm a little too aggressive, and I raise my stop up too quickly, and then I get stopped out, and then the stock really goes. And it's like I had the great idea. I had piss poor execution. But I'd rather have piss poor execution than lose money. It's just me. Again, every trader is different. One thing I want to point out here is if you use this buying 95% power, I used this one last week, and I thought I was on my paper trading account, and I wasn't. I was an idiot. I was in my live account, right? So it bought 95% of my buying power at an ask price of plus 5%, or I'm sorry, 5 cents. And I think I got filled at that 95% of my buying power plus two, right? On JNUG. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, I'm like, okay, I'm like, holy crap, I didn't think I was gonna buy 60,000 shares of JNUG. And then I realized, I'm like, oh shit, I'm on my real account, right? I flipped out. Luckily, JNUG moved enough to where when I sold it, I broke even, like literally broke even. I was like freaking out. 60,000 shares of JNUG, like that's ridiculous. A $240,000 trade. I think it was like just over four. Like I mean, it was like I think it was like about 250,000. I was like, oh my God, please, please just let me get out of this thing. I was literally, I thought I had piss running down my leg. That's how scared I was. Like, I'm not kidding. So you want to be very, very careful, right? Depending on your buying power. So again, that's fine. If you just want to get into a trade and you don't really care, that's not me. I learned from Canal, so I know how to do risk adjusted size positioning. Anyways, another thing I found really, really useful is I have this one here, Control Z. So what I'll do, if I see my trade is going south and I know I'm just going to get stopped, or I figure I'm going to get stopped out, I hate giving away money. So even if I'm risking 200 bucks in the trade and I'm down 150, well, listen, if I can bail out, if I have a good idea that it's just not going to work, right? Or I thought maybe something was going to work immediately and it didn't. Like, look, I'll just get out of the damn trade. Or especially if I get a trade that's just sitting there, I'll just bail out. I'll bail out for 5 cents less. What I have it sitting for 5 cents under the bid, so I know that I'm at least going to get filled. So even if I get any slippage, chances are I'm not. It's not like I'm going to get all the way down to something to a whole different level of pricing tier. So that's my old shit or my bailout, right? Control Z gets me out of the damn trade completely. Of course, if I try to sell on the ask, then I might be sitting there waiting for some buyer to come along and want to pay my price. And if I just want to get out, I just want to get out, right? It's almost the same as selling market, but then I don't have that extra slippage that comes with market orders. So, and of course, if a stock is running, this is where this is what I really like. So, especially if a stock is pushing, I can do Control K. I can sell my entire position size, or if I want, I can scale out half, right? Which I hit Control L, I'll scale out half. If I want to scale out a quarter, I can do Control semicolon, right? So the control button, the control key and the semicolon lets me get out a quarter at a time. So again, it works for me. Like honestly, I don't do quarter. I just do Control L, and then at that point, like I'll raise my stop really far up, like almost underneath something. So if it goes back, at least I'm gonna get, at the very least, I'll take my buy price and I'll raise it up to my original position that I sold half off. So worst case, it's like I sold three quarters at the original sell price. So I lock in as much profit as I can. It's really up to you all. You can also set for profit targets. Be careful here because you're selling a full position if you use these. Now, if you want to change these to to whatever, you can go in here and you can actually change the position. Like it'll be share equals position, and then it'll be the asterisk key, which is multiply, and then you would do zero point 0.5 to sell half, 0.25 to sell a quarter. If you want to do like 75, you or 75% of it, you would just do or you want to do 3/4, you would just do 0.75, right? So you can do that. Hey, the other things here that you can do as far as the automated type, or shares and stuff. I'm sorry, the automated type orders. This right here is what I call my scalper. This is what I do on Fridays. I like to scalp, right? I'll risk $100 to make 200, and that's usually just so I can buy some really really good steaks on the weekend, right? So like, and I don't even care if a stock can run $2 or $10 or $5 or 50 cents. I'm just looking for a 20-cent move, right? I'm willing to gamble $100 to make $200, right? It's just like Vegas, baby. We're playing blackjack, right? So I don't really care. But I mean, if I get a stock that I know can move at least 30, 40 cents, then I'm willing to take a chance that it might move 20 cents, right? And really, this is not something I'm looking to keep long term. Like I'll even get in a trade that maybe something that has a dollar candle, right? I'm just looking for 20 cents on that bad boy. So I'll take 1,000 shares, risk me 10 cents. I'm only risking $100 on the trade. If it moves 20 cents, my target's already set, right? Because it's in the range. So once it sells at 20 cents, then I take $200 and I'm good. I'm out of the trade. Also, for those people that like to do trailing stops, so somebody who doesn't want to sit and watch a trade occur, you put your buy price in, right? So you buy 1,000 shares, you got a 10-cent stop loss, you're risking $100. So hopefully your trade starts going. And like, listen, like Kamal said, good trades, they usually tend to work immediately. And if they just sit there, it's shit. Get out of it, right? And if it's a bad idea, you're gonna get stopped out. You move on to the next thing. So I like that the things are fast, right? Because again, I don't want to be sitting in a trade when something else is running. I want to be able to get in and out, and then of course you can do 1,000 shares with a 10-cent stop. It's just look. These all things are explainable, but here is my favorite shit right here. Like this is what makes me. This is I think it's what makes me a better trader now, right? Or at least it makes me a trader who can't really screw things up too badly. So this is the one that this is nice because this right here, this script gives you the ability to take a position based off of what you're willing to risk per trade, right? So for those that have been through Kunal's Bootcamp, he teaches you how to do risk adjusted size positioning, right? Where most traders, they'll trade 1,000 shares or 100 shares. They don't give a shit what stock it is. They don't care how much it costs. They don't care what their stop loss is, which means they have varying risk from trade to trade, which is really really bad, right? I want to know if I'm going to lose on the trade. I want to know exactly how much I'm going to lose, and I want to know from trade to trade. Like I want to be consistent. So if I'm going to lose $100, I'd rather lose $100 5 times than I would to lose $100 on this trade, 200 on the next trade, 300 on another trade, $100 on another. I don't like that. I don't like that flexibility, right? I don't like that fluctuation. I like my shit to be known. I want to be predictable. So if I'm going to lose, I know I'm a $200 loser. If I'm a winner, well, I don't know what kind of winner I am until I find out how the trade plays out. I don't want to be like, well, I don't know how big of a loser I am because that can fluctuate on a daily basis. I don't want to be that kind of loser. So in the beginning, during the boot camp, Kamal gave students a spreadsheet that allowed us to punch in what we were risking from our portfolio, how much we're risking per trade, what the price is, what the stop is going to be, and then it gave you the actual shares you could buy. By the time I entered in all that stuff, all my trades were running and I was missing out on everything. And frankly, I felt like it really overcomplicated things for me as a trader. Sure, some people probably like it. Some people, it probably helped them to go slower. I didn't want that. When I think I see a pattern or I got something that's a hot stock, I want to get in that bad boy. I want to make my money, right? I don't want to sit and wait for it to run. So what I did was I went out and I took an Excel spreadsheet. I created myself the ability to just create a quick reference chart. So what I did was I created this in Excel and I printed it out and I put it on my wall, right? And then I tried to get a poster made, but they wanted to charge me like $85, and I didn't think it was worth spending $85 on a poster. So I printed this out, and then I printed out a smaller thing, and I put it in a plastic picture holder that's on my desk. So anytime that I wanted to figure out how many shares, and it wasn't easily calculated in my head. I could just glance down and see. So on the left hand side, I have stops in increments from 10 to 90. I'm sorry, from 10 to 90 cents, and I have increments in a dollar from a dollar to 10. And then at the top here, the top numbers represent the number I'm willing to risk per trade. So when I started out, when I started getting crushed and everything, and I was doing things the wrong way, I went and I readjusted. I said, look, it's time to refocus. It's time to buckle down and do this right way. So I started out and I said, I'm going to risk 25 bucks a trade, right? Because if I can't be profitable on $25 a trade, I sure as hell I can be profitable on $200 a trade. No, the only thing that's going to happen, I'm going to lose even more money than I already lost. So once I proved I could be profitable here, I would graduate slowly up to the next level. And now I bounce between 2 and 300 depending on how I feel to the day. If I feel like I'm on the money, I'll risk 300 bucks. If I feel like I'm just if I'm still kind of trying to figure if my timing's on, cool, I'll risk 200. When all this market got really volatile and Kanal's like we need to take much smaller sizes, I was risking 100 bucks max. But when things got really, really hot and I was like killing Chivix every day, I was risking $500 to $1,000 a trade. And, I made like 69 grand one day. So, it works, right? Like this whole thing works, right? So, Kanal was genius when he explained that this is the best way to do this, right? Because at least I know if I do something wrong, this is what I'm going to lose. Right? If I'm risking 200 bucks, I know that I'm a moron for 200 bucks, right? I'd rather be a moron at 200 bucks than an idiot at 500. So, but again, so let's just say I would pick my stop. I would, 50-cent stop at $200. I could take 400 shares of something. So now what I've got is the ability that I don't even have to calculate. I don't have to look at it anymore. I don't even have to decide what that chart tells me. So I don't have to fill out in this spreadsheet. I don't have to look at this reference sheet. I can just take this. I can either set this as a script that I run, or I can create this into a button where I can just click it, right? So let me show you how this is done real quick. So let's say that you wanted to create this. So we're going to go up here. We're going to select in column C. We're going to select the whole thing. We're going to hit Control A. And I'm going to show you how to build this button real quickly in this, right? This is really awesome. So we go up to our setup for the hotkeys. And we're going to click New Item, right? So we're going to call this long with 100 risk with stop. Let's just take out the extra width because you know what? I don't want my buttons all. So you go over here and then whatever you want to give it. Now I don't have one set for this because I just really wanted to get this one so I can make it into a button. That's all I cared about. So again, but let's just say you wanted to give this, I don't know, Control M, right? We can use Control M. So now we have Control M that will be mapped to what we're getting ready to do. So you go down here to the script, you right click and you paste. Now you can look through all this stuff and maybe you'll understand it, maybe you won't. But look, here's what I do. So right here, this is what we want to focus on. This is the most important part. This is what we're willing to risk, right? Risk management, I honestly believe, is the most important part of trading. I don't care what stocks, what patterns you have. You have poor risk management, no pattern is going to save your ass, right? So again, we need to decide what we want to risk. It's like Kamal always says, when we're going to risk something, we want to know what our number is. What's that magic number? What's that number that if we hit it, we're going to be the biggest complete ass to everybody we know? Or what is a number we can live with where it doesn't ruin our day? So for me, that's 200, right? 200, I'm okay. 300, I start getting a little grumpy. 500, yeah, I'm an asshole, right? I mean, and obviously I'm a much bigger asshole than many of you know in the channel, right? Like I'm an even bigger asshole in real life when I lose money, right? Because it just means, one, not only did I lose money, but also my ego is bruised and hurt, and I love to be right, that's the alpha in me, right? Like I've got to be right. I've got to win. That's what I've been programmed to do my entire life. So taking losses it's difficult. But if I can decide, hey, I'm okay. I know taking losses is a part of the game. So what am I willing to risk? So we're just going to keep this as default. But if you want to change your risk, right? If you want to do risk size positioning and you want to change this to 200, 500, 25, whatever, you just go in here and you replace the 100 with whatever you're willing to risk per trade. Okay, and then once you do that, you go ahead here and hit commit. Right now, I've already got one map for this, so I don't want to do this. I don't want to create multiples because then I'll get confused. So you'll hit commit, right, and it will bring you right back to your screen here. So now we already have the other one copied and pasted on our clipboard. So we're going to close out of this. We're going to go down here. So now I have extra buttons. You know, depending on if you just have the default, you may not have these extra buttons. So what you want to do is you want to come down here and you want to right click and you want to add row, right? And you want to do this if you want to create extra buttons, like, you know, you want to have maybe you want to have a button for your set your stop loss at buy price for your free trade, you know, and then maybe you want to do another one as well for your short side, right? So then you can create a row of 3 buttons, and then you can have all 3 buttons that we're going to have. So default, they come up yellow and name. We're going to right click, edit. We're going to give our button a name so we know exactly what this button's going to do by looking at it. Like, we don't want to put some random, like, just buy whatever, because we don't know the parameters in it. So remember, we called this long $100 risk with stop. And then, of course, we need to make sure that, well, what I like to do is I like to keep all my buttons according to how I'm playing the trade. So if I'm opening a long position, I want my background to be green, right? So anytime the button's function is to buy, it's got to be green. Anytime the button's function is to sell, I want it to be red. So even like with my cover buttons, I want this is a buy, even though it's part of a short trade, I want my cover to be green because I know I've got a buy, right? So green signals the long or buy side, red signals the sell or short side for me, right? So I've got the background color set to green. Now we're not done yet, so we got to go in here. We got to right click. So we still have our script that we had copied earlier. So again, this is the exact same script. So if we hit the Control M, right, if you use the Control M for your shortcut, whatever shortcut you use, if you hit Control whatever or whatever you set your shortcut to be, that would fire, right? Well, this is going to create the button, right? So this right here is going to change and it's going to have the same name, right? Bam. Let me show you how this works now. So let's say that you want to get into a trade and you decide that on this chart right here, the CLR, you want to get in and you want your stop loss, depending on your whatever pattern you're using, you want your stop loss to be right here under 8. Let's just call it, we're going to put it at the VWAP and the 20 EMA at 860. Now that didn't work apparently. So let me go back here. Let me see if I can get this to work on there again, because sometimes it is a little bit different. So you double click, there you go. You double click on the chart, right? So you can put your stop loss wherever you want. So we're going to set our stop loss at 861, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to send an ask order that's going to get filled, and it's going to automatically set our stop loss. There you go. Look at that. 860 is our stop loss. We're in this trade. We're risking on this trade $100. So if this, the amount of shares we got is 588, right? So we're risking 16 cents. Now look, just to show you, just to verify that this actually worked, right? We can go back to my stop loss chart, right? So I don't have 16 cents on here, but if we're risking $100, roughly 16 cents, it's gonna be between this, right? So look, we got 588. Okay, cool. Guess what? We're good. We're in this trade. If it works, right? If it works, we can scale out, and then we can use our break even button that we set, right? We can set as we scale out half up here. You know, you already have a by default, I think it has a sell half and then sell 100%. I think it says sell 50%. I changed mine around because I like to see different things. But again, like, so you're in the trade, like you got in this trade, it already calculated your risk. It calculated how many shares that you would need to purchase in order to meet that risk if you get stopped out, and it actually checks your buying power, right? So it does everything for you. So it takes out opportunities for you to screw something up. And what you got to do, you got to go on this chart and you got to click where you want your stop loss placed. How awesome is that, right? I don't have to sit here and scroll down and go, well, I want my stop loss at 851, then come over here, set my, buy my shares, right? Because I still have to figure shit out, right? I still got to figure out how many shares I can buy in order to hit that, to meet what I'm willing to risk. Send that order, go down here, change the damn routing, to a stop, and then have to, double click, make sure it's loaded. So my position size shows up. Then have to go and type in whatever, and then go down here and then click sell 100%, and then like, okay, so I got my stop going. Oh, listen, how's it any different than Thinkorswim, where I'm making, 7 clicks and three keyboard key shit, 3 keystroke input. Like, again, this is nice and more powerful, but I'm making shit harder. Well, now I'm not. I'm in it, and I can click buttons, right? Like, it's like Kamal said, hot button. Dude, I'm in a fucking trade. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I'm in a trade, right? I'm already in a trade. So, like, I don't have to do anything. And it works to the long and short side. So if I wanted to short something, like, I don't know, again, this is not how I would take trades. Like, I don't just click and go, I want to short this, right? But let's say I wanted to, I wanted to short this, and I want to put my stop right above here. Well, look, I go over here, I got short. I can do a short limit, right? I can short on the S, I can short on a limit. Whatever I want to do. That, now there you go. There's my clearly defined. Now, obviously, that would have been way too much, but again, it's going to give me 200 shares. But again, I don't want that one. Even though it's paper trading, I still like to be as good as I can. I just like to be right. I think I care more about being right than I do about being profitable, which is really sad. Um, I'm in this for the fun and the success. The money, that's just a bonus. Anyways, but that's what you can do. So I just wanted to share with you real quickly how awesome hotkeys are, and how any hotkey that you have can be made into a button. And again, if anything, the best thing you could do, like, even if you don't even care about doing an automated system, or where you automatically don't have to figure out stuff, if you just want to get in, man, create yourself a button for a free trade button, a break even button, right? Oh, how awesome is that? Like, seriously, you scale out half and then you click it. So again, if I was I'm not in the trade that's running right now, but if I was in a trade that was running and I was up and I scale out half, as long as my montage is loaded with my correct shares, I hit my long break even free trade button. Man, it takes my shares and sets my shares, or it takes my stop loss at my average cost, right? At my buy price. So it's a free trade. Like, those alone could probably change the way a lot of people trade. And at least it will minimize a lot of losses, or giving back profits on trades that work for you. Now, I don't know how much it's going to help you with a trade that's losing, but man, on a profitable trade, it at least locks in that it's a free trade for you and you're not losing any money. So again, hopefully this made a lot of sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse things for people. Hopefully people watch this, and they really forget about my presentation style. Don't compare me to Canola, because he's the man and I'm just a peddly student, right? But I'm just trying to help out where I can. That makes things easier, because if I found this helpful, maybe somebody else might say, hey, look, you know what? I'm struggling with this too. If this helped you, maybe it helps me. Then again, maybe I just unlocked an entire world of hotkeys for you, where you're like, holy crap, I can automate everything with buttons and just click stuff and win. Like, honestly, my scalp trade, right? This is what I did yesterday. Like, seriously, this is what I did. So I got into LK yesterday, right? Remember, Kanal always says luck does not happen to you. We put ourselves in a situation where luck can give us some assistance. Luck will never do everything for you. And that's, I think, it's a problem where many people make, is they assume that they're waiting for their lucky day, where luck's just going to come and change their life. Yeah, screw that, dude. I did that a long time. It doesn't work. So what I did yesterday was I wanted to test out this scalp trade, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to test out. It's only going to be 10 cents. So if I lose, it's $100. Cool, no big deal. Plus, LK was down, so I thought, man, this thing is at least going to bounce back a little bit, because just how far could it really fall? I mean, like, it hit the bottom. So I got in it, right? And I hit a scalp on it. So watch, so, like, this is how simple the scalp trade is. So LK is listed in here, right? I'm gonna buy 1,000 shares. I'm risking 10 cents. Look, I'm in there, right? Now, if it hits my target, guess what? I'm getting 20 cents. I did this yesterday. And man, like, I made 4,500 on LK, on Luck and Coffee. Luck and Coffee brought me the luck, right? That's what it did. So I just kept raising my target up, kept raising it up. I didn't care, right? I didn't care what it did. I just kept raising my target up, and then finally, you know, I got out at 10-10, boom, or whatever, like it was like 10 something, but I got out at 10, and then what happened? It took a shit for the rest of the day. I really didn't care, right? That's how awesome it was. So like the scalp thing, like I said, I don't care. I'm risking 10 cents. I'm risking $100 to make 200. I'm okay with that, especially for something I'm only going to do in a couple minutes. I don't, where else can you make $200 in like 3 to 10 minutes? I like that, right? I can do it in other things. I can especially do it in stocks that actually have some nice movement. Like I don't expect LK to really make any big movement, but again, it could. Worst case, I'm out $100. But this is the power of hotkeys and buttons, or like I said, as Canal likes to call them, hot buttons. Like this is awesome stuff. So hopefully, more people that use this will make additional videos and stuff that we all can use as a group here at Bulls and be able to really do some awesome stuff. So um, hopefully this helps. Again, any feedback you have, if you're working on if you're using some of my scripts that I have or some of the ones I provide, if there's any ways that we can improve them, the one thing I would love to do, I would love to figure out how to program a script that allows me to sell half my position and then automatically set my buy price. So I don't really know if it's even possible. I know with the like with the range one, I can do certain things as far as range wise, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what I can do. But again, what I would like to do, I would love to have a button that would allow me to just click it and say sell half and then automatically raise my stop to my buy price so I have a break even free trade. If I can do that, then we're going to be in the butter zone big time because we'll be awesome. Like there'll be no reason why we ever lose money. Shouldn't be. Once the trade's running, we should always be in the green. All right. So hope this helps, guys. Thank you so much for letting me share with you what I think is fascinating and it's going to help me. And even if it doesn't help you, hopefully it will help somebody. So have a great day, guys, and thanks.